welcome to another episode of Sit and Spin with me, your host, Joe Royland. Hopefully you enjoyed last week's show with my good friend Scott from Righteous Vinyl, where we counted down our annual top 5 vinyl picks of the year for 2016. We didn't get to do a show for 2015 if you watched that show, which kind of bummed me out because I didn't get to talk about one of my favorite picks from that year. But that's going to kind of tie into what we're going to be talking about today, which is the new EP from Third Eye Blind, We Are Drugs. Now, this was released as a digital EP back in October, and I didn't cover it then because I was holding out hope that they would actually release a physical version of the EP, which they have, as you can tell from here. This actually isn't streaming in stores until I'm pretty sure it's this weekend, but if you ordered it ahead of time, like me, from the band's website, you got it ahead of time. So I've had this for almost a month now and have been enjoying the hell out of it. Also came with this cool little bonus Third Eye Blind sticker. Now, the EP's title is a tie-in reference to the band's previous album, which was 2015's DOPAMINE, one of my top 5 favorite albums from that year, and one of the band's best, a true return to form. You can check out my review of it back in episode 94, where we were only talking about the CD then because there was a delay in getting the vinyl out. But We Are Drugs, dopamine being chemicals in the blood that make you feel good, and drugs, of course, affect the dopamine levels in your body. Now, back after DOPAMINE came out, bandleader Stephen Jenkins stated that from then on, the group might abandon the full-length album format in favor of doing EP and single releases, and this is kind of that promise come to light. Now, some of the material on We Are Drugs is unfinished ideas from DOPAMINE that Jenkins wanted to flesh out and finish up, but overall, the recording for most of the EP took place over the course of just 1 week, and kind of had a reason for that. Kind of as with the latest Jimmy Eat World album, the idea going in was to have no preconceived guidelines or definition of what the music should sound like. Instead, it allowed the band to kind of keep things fresh and of the moment, and this also allowed Stephen Jenkins to stop obsessing over perfecting the song's lyrics, something which in the past has previously held up album releases from the band, why they've had big breaks between record releases. And the 7-song EP kicks off with a single, Company of Strangers, which you're hearing in the background now, which is a slice of super catchy driving Third Eye Blind. Right off the bat, we're off to a great start, and what follows finds the band in their most adventurous and experimental form since the Blue album. And there are tunes like this one that sound like classic Third Eye Blind, and there are also songs that sound kind of nothing like you've ever heard from the band before, but trust me, it's all great. Queen of Daydreams follows, and very much a musical homage to The Cure with its kind of jangly pick strum guitar lines set against a percolating synth rhythm, and has some really great guitar parts. Particularly, there's a really sweet guitar solo that sounds like a baritone. You'll probably hear it coming up, that I'm going to assume is Chris Reed, but since it doesn't specify in the EP's credits, and Stephen Jenkins plays guitar in it as well as guest Chris Donegan, it could be any of them, but since it's not credited specifically to Chris Reed, I'm just going to guess it is, and Chris, you can correct me on that if you watch this and tell me I'm wrong or right. The next track on the album, Don't Give In, is another killer cut with a super memorable sing-along chorus layered over a textural bed of great performances from all the band members, particularly some bass work from Alex Cavalier, and is automatically one of my new all-time favorite amongst their catalog. It ends with a really cool fade out on this acoustic guitar line that is very similar to the way Brad Hargreaves' drums on Jumper did off the debut album. That's followed by the tune Isn't It Pretty, that is one of those unexpected stylistic tracks on the EP. When it first starts off, you're kind of like, what the heck is this? There's a spoken word intro from Stephen Jenkins, and it kind of rides along in this laid-back R&B groove. Again, great bass playing from Alex Cavalier, mixed with guest synths from Brian Fennell and Chad Copeland, who also do programming on the album, co-wrote the song too, but it's really cool tune. That's followed by the tune Sherry is a Stoner, which feels almost like it could have come off of Blue, except for the keyboard work of Alex Kopp, who also co-wrote the track and really makes his presence felt on this EP too. Stephen Jenkins does a killer falsetto in the choruses, and I love the subtle guitar work going on from Chris Reed on this one. Again, just really tasty stuff in the background. That's followed by Weightless, which was the last track completed for the EP, and continues in the same adventurous spirit as Sherry's a Stoner, except for being kind of like more upfront and a driving rocker. And then the album closes out with the song Cop vs. Phone Girl, which preceded the album. It actually came out back in July in advance of the record. It takes its inspiration from the Spring Valley High School incident as well as the Black Lives Matter movement. And some folks were kind of turned off by the political nature of the song's lyrics, and to them I say, your loss. For one, if you're a fan at all of Stephen Jenkins, then you should know he's a very outspoken person, has absolutely no problem calling things as he sees them, and it's always been one of the things I've respected about him. I've had a chance to hang out with him and speak to him on a couple of occasions, and I've always loved that aspect of him. Some people don't, but I find it refreshing. You should also know, if you're a fan of his, where he stands on things politically, so this track should not be a surprise to you. And 3, it's a fucking great song. Again, with a killer chorus that is going to be stuck in your head for hours and days after hearing it. So all in all, man, solid outing from Third Eye Blind on their new EP, We Are Drugs. I thought, and still do, that Dopamine was one of the best things the band has done ever, as well as in a while. But We Are Drugs, just as much, if not more so. Now the band, I said this at the end of the Dopamine episode, I hope the band doesn't want to not make full albums anymore. I hope they continue to make full-length records. But if the results of just doing EPs are going to be this, where it's all killer and no filler, I can't argue with that. It's great. It's just a solid release. I mean, I've had it on constant repeat. The album's cover is tribute, kind of takes its inspiration from Salvador Dali's short film Un Chien Andalou, which I probably just mangled that. And like Dopamine on vinyl, comes on another way that it ties in with that, aside from the black and white aspects of the cover, it comes on a really sweet white vinyl. Dopamine was the same. And something I never got to say about Dopamine, because we never covered it in my top 5, but if you did get the vinyl version, it comes with a bonus 45, which features a cover of Beyonce's Be Mine, which is really great. So if you still haven't picked up Dopamine, God, by all means, go out and get that. And be sure you get We Are Drugs, because it's just equally fantastic. So glad to have Third Eye Blind back doing what they do and doing it as well as they're doing it, just knocking it out and killing it with their new material. So pick it up. Third Eye Blind's We Are Drugs, out now. Definitely worth your time. And that is our show for this week. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time, where we'll have something else new for you. A lot of great stuff coming out this month and the next month that I'm looking forward to. So we will see you next time on Sit and Spin. Take it easy and see you then.